actually can't believe we're halfway through 2025. Like, where is the time going? I thought this would be the perfect moment to sit down, have a chat, and take you through all of the books that I've read so far this year. I actually feel like I've read such a range of different books this year, and I think a lot of the books probably will reflect how I was feeling at that point in the year. Okay, so I counted on my Goodreads and I actually read 18 books from January to June, which I think is actually really good. That's like 3 books each month. So I'm going to talk about the books in the order that I read them, and I'll give you my rating of them as well. Okay, let's get started because there's a lot to talk about. I'm just opening up my Goodreads. Okay, let's start off with the first one. So the first one is Broken, Not a Halal Love Story by Fatima Bala. Okay, so I don't actually know what got me into reading this book in particular, but I think I saw it on TikTok. Someone was talking about it and it captured my interest. So it follows a girl called Faiza, who is a devoted Muslim law student. In this book, she navigates her faith, forbidden love, and family expectations while she falls for a man called Ahmed in Canada, where she's studying. I thought this book was good. I rated it 3 out of 5 stars, just because I didn't really gauge with the main character. She just wasn't my cup of tea. Next, I read Things We Do Not Tell the People We Love by Huma Qureshi. Okay, so after reading that first book, I was really into reading books by South Asian authors. So I came across this particular book on Kindle. I really enjoyed this book. So it's a powerful collection of stories. I think there's 10 stories within this book. Dives into unspoken feelings and emotions in relationships, specifically focusing on relationships between mothers and daughters, lovers, friends and partners. And these stories are often centered around British, Pakistani and South Asian lives. I rated it a 4 out of 5. I thought it was great. So after that book, I read Erotic Stories for Punjabi Widows by Bali Kaur Jaswal. So this book follows Nikki, who is a Sikh and a law school dropout. It's based in Southall in London. So once she drops out of university, she takes on a creative writing job teaching Punjabi widows. So a book of erotic tales accidentally ends up in the class, and the widows end up sharing their own spicy stories, but then leads to dangerous secrets being revealed. This book was good, don't get me wrong, but I just felt like the storyline was a bit messy and hard to follow. It was quite slow to begin with, but then the ending felt really rushed, so I rated it a 3 out of 5. Then I read Honor by Friti Umrigar. My God, I don't think I'm ever going to forget this book for as long as I live. It literally ripped my heart into shreds. I've never cried so much whilst reading a book. It follows Smita, who is a journalist, and she returns to India to report on Meena. Meena is a Hindu woman fighting for justice after her brothers killed her husband, who was Muslim. It's a powerful story about love, violence, faith, actually the harsh reality of honor culture. I rated this book a 5 out of 5. It was such a difficult read, but it's still one of the best books I've ever read. After that, I moved on to The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid, which I'm sure most people watching this might have heard of. This book started my Taylor Jenkins Reid obsession. I absolutely love this author. So this book is about a Hollywood icon who shares the truth behind her 7 marriages and her greatest love with an unexpected young journalist. This was such a good book. I literally finished it within a few days. I don't know how the author does it, but she just makes you feel that these characters that she's written about are real people. Like, I just felt like I wanted to Google them and read more about their lives after I finished the book. It's actually incredible. I rated it a 5 out of 5 as well. After this, I read a book that was recommended to me by a friend, and that was Cackle by Rachel Harrison. Cackle follows Annie, who is a heartbroken teacher from New York City, and she relocates to a quaint little town where she meets Sophie. Sophie is a glamorous woman who draws Annie in with friendship and little bits of magic. I actually loved this book so much. It reminded me of Sabrina the Teenage Witch. I would have loved to have read this around Halloween because it was given those sorts of vibes, but I'm just so glad I read it. I rated it a 5 out of 5. It gave me proper spooky vibes, and I just love all of that sort of stuff, like witches, wizards, magic, you name it, I love all of that. Okay, so next I read The Strawberry Patch Pancake House by Laurie Gilmore. This was a cute book. I love a little romance. I know that there's loads of books within this series. I've seen them online everywhere. But I didn't realise they actually followed a specific order, and this book is actually the 4th book in the series. To be honest, I was actually just attracted to the front cover and the name. It just made me hungry, so I picked it up out of the library. So this particular book is about Archer, who is a famous chef, and he moves to a small town to raise his daughter that he never knew he had. But with the help of Iris, the new nanny, he finds love, family, and a second chance. I actually rated this a 4 out of 5. It was a cutesy romance, and it was a little bit spicy. Okay, so the next book I read after that was Girls of Riyadh by Raja Al Sania. This book is about 4 young Saudi women navigating family, love, and cultural expectations. And it's all told through anonymous emails. It's actually quite bold, revealing, and it's really full of drama. It's kind of like Gossip Girl, Sex and the City, Saudi Arabia edition. This book was actually banned in Saudi Arabia when it was first published in Arabic in 2005, mainly because it spoke about taboo topics such as dating, alcohol, and relationships between men and women. I actually really enjoyed how eye-opening it was, and I rated it a 4 out of 5. Then I read Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine by Gail Honeyman. I had my eye on this book for ages, so when I saw it in the library, I literally picked it up as fast as I could. It follows Eleanor, who is a quirky and socially awkward woman, but she encounters something that makes her question a lot of things that are happening in her life, and it shakes up her lonely, routined life. She starts opening up to friendship and kindness, and she also gets an opportunity to confront her painful past. This book was such a beautiful reminder to be kind to everyone because you just don't know what they're going through. I rated it a 4 out of 5. After that, I read another Taylor Jenkins Reid book, and that is Carrie Soto is Back. It's about a retired tennis champion who comes out of retirement to defend her title at 37 years old. I felt it was a fierce and emotional story about ambition and pretty much proving that you've still got it after so many years. I actually wasn't sure I was going to enjoy this book because I'm not a tennis fan. But I actually really did enjoy it. I'm telling you, I just love this author. I finished this book thinking I had read about a real life tennis player. I rated it a 4 out of 5. The next book was actually chosen by my book club, and that was Educated by Tara Westover. This book is actually a memoir. It's about growing up in a strict survivalist Mormon society in rural Idaho with no formal education. So Tara teaches herself enough to leave where she's living and go to university. And she eventually earns a PhD from Cambridge. It's a powerful story about family and education. This book was actually so shocking. Like, I just could not believe some of the things that happened in this book. It was just insane. Like, when we spoke about this in the book club, we just couldn't believe that it was a true story. But I thought the story was still incredible. I rated it a 4 out of 5, but I did find it a little bit slow to get into. Then I moved on to The Best Summer Ever by Heidi Swain. This follows Daisy, who moves back to her coastal hometown following a breakup. She reconnects with her family, she lands a new job, and she sparks a summer romance with Josh. So he's not quite who he seems that he is. I mean, this book was good. It was a good one to read after reading Educated, which was quite a heavy read. But it was just a bit meh. Like, it was cute, but it was meh. I rated it a 3 out of 5. I just felt like the story took really long to develop, and then once it developed, the book ended. So the book I read after that was Little Bang by Kelly McCaughren. I think I've said that right. This book follows 2 teenagers, Mel and Sid, in 2018 Northern Ireland. So they get pregnant after their first date when abortion was still illegal, and they struggle with family pressure, societal expectations, and the reality of just having to grow up so fast. I thought this book was so good and so important. Maybe it should be one of the core texts that kids have to read in high school. I rated it a 5 out of 5. So my obsession continued with the next book, and I read Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This follows 4 siblings as they throw a wild party in, I think, 1983 Malibu. By the end of the night, all of their secrets are out, their lives have completely changed, and the house is in literal flames. It's a story about family, fame, and starting fresh. I really, really enjoyed this book. I rated it a 5 out of 5. Then I read another book by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and this was After I Do. I told you the obsession continued. So this is one of her earlier books, so it doesn't follow the whole celebrity story vibe. Follows Lauren and Ryan, who are a married couple on the verge of breaking up. But instead of divorcing, they decide that they are going to separate and have no contact for a whole year to figure out if they still want to be together. It's an honest and emotional story about love and what can happen if you stop appreciating one another. I loved the story and I rated it a 5 out of 5. So the next book I read was Lovers in Auschwitz, a True Story. I almost gave up on this book after the first few chapters because it was just so incredibly sad and I could just tell how sad this book was going to make me. But I decided to continue reading it. So this is a true story about David and Zippy, who are 2 young Jews who were imprisoned in the Auschwitz concentration camp, and they fell in love. After the war ended, they lost contact and they reconnected after 70 years, revealing a love that survived in the most darkest of places. This is up there with the saddest books that I've ever read, but I'm so glad I read it because I literally learnt so much that I didn't know. I rated it a 5 out of 5. After reading that, I really needed something different, so I read another Rachel Harrison book, and this was called So Thirsty. So this book follows Sloane, who's sent on a mysterious girls' weekend for her birthday by her husband. And she goes on this weekend with her best friend Naomi. But things quickly take a dark, twisted turn after they meet a bunch of people. And that's all I'm going to say. But this one, compared to Cackle, was really gory. But I did enjoy it. It was giving like Goosebumps vibes, but for adults. I rated it a 4 out of 5. My final book that I just finished is The Unlikely Adventures of the Shergill Sisters by Bali Kaur Jaswal. You could probably see it up here actually. I need to return it to the library soon. This is the same author that wrote Erotic Stories for Punjabi Widows. So it follows 3 British Punjabi sisters who have gone on a trip to India to honour their mother's last wish. Along the trip, they confront old wounds, family secrets, and just what it means to be sisters. I enjoyed it and I rated it a 4 out of 5. So those are the books that I read from January to June. God, there was a lot of them. Some made me laugh and some broke my heart. I really loved discovering so many different authors. Like this year, I've really come out of my comfort zone with reading. Like I was always reading the same kind of books, but now I'm reading a whole range of different things. You know, if you have any recommendations for books that you think I should read, just put them down in the comments. And also let me know if you've read any of these books and what you thought of them. Anyway, thank you for watching and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!